are 10 mistakes that I see new guys in the gym always make. Now, the first one is focusing on accessory movements. I always see guys, they'll go in and they'll like hit the ab machines or they'll hit bicep curls. But really, you don't get a lot of that growth in those muscles from those little tiny weight movements. You get a lot of like your abs, your biceps and stuff like that to grow by doing really, really heavy compound movements, which means you're moving weights with a lot of muscles. So that's like the squat, the deadlift, the bench press, and the overhead press. Those are the four typical ones that people speak about when they talk about compound movements. So I would focus on those four movements if you want to see growth in your smaller muscles like your abs and your biceps, because those are what you use to stabilize the weight for the bigger movements. Number two is not doing cardio ever. So what happens actually if you go into weightlifting and you start to get a lot bigger, you start to get a lot stronger, is your heart tissue actually gets like denser. And this can be a problem because it can lead to like heart issues later on in life. If you're not staying active, you're not doing cardio, you're not getting your blood pumping and doing more endurance style workouts as well. That kind of combats your heart tissue getting more dense to deal with all the high pressure from lifting weights. So make sure you're doing cardio. It doesn't have to be running all the time. It doesn't have to be whatever, the normal typical cardio. You can go and you can play basketball once or twice a week. Join a fight gym once or twice a week. That's all you really need, is a couple times a week doing your cardio. If you do it every day, sure, that's better. But doing it a couple times a week, that's plenty as well. Just make sure you're doing something as well outside of weightlifting. Number three is you're probably afraid to ask questions. I always go in there and there's like some little guy that I can tell doesn't really know what he's doing. Like he just like, I don't know, he's kind of monkeying around with weights. He doesn't know how much to go up, and like, I don't know, there's always something going on where somebody's puzzled and scratching their head. They're like looking at weird machines. They're like, I don't know what this is. And a lot of those times I'll actually approach those people and be like, hey man, do you need any help? Do you need anything? Because I know that it's like probably really uncomfortable for them. It's something outside of their normal territory, and a lot of people look big and scary and whatever, but a lot of times people are actually really nice. Like, I'll help out anybody that comes up to me and asks me for help. So like, don't be afraid to ask somebody for help if you don't know what's going on. Number four is training every single day. I see so many people just going in and they're like never giving their bodies a break. People don't realize that like your nervous system needs time to heal as well. So people think about the muscle time to heal, and your muscles can heal in like 24 to 48 hours, and then you can hit them again, sure, and you can get relatively the same weight, if not a little bit more. However, I notice the biggest gains in all my numbers if I take like 2, 3, 4 days off at a time, and then I'll go back and hit my normal regiment again. Because your nervous system needs a break. Your body needs to recuperate every once in a while. And a lot of guys just hit it every single day, all the time. And thinking about only the recovery time for your muscles can be a big mistake that I see a lot of people make. Now, this is different for everybody. But at least for my body type and what works for me, that's when I see the best gains, is if I take like 4 days off and then I go back and I'm hitting like 10 days in a row for a workout or something like that. Or like maybe a couple days off, couple days on. Like, just make sure you're getting like a little bit of a gap every once in a while to give your body some time to recover. Number five would be overtraining muscles. When I go in, I hit 3 to 6 sets for the muscle groups that I'm hitting that day. I don't usually do anything more. If I'm doing like a squat, the maximum amount of sets that I'm doing is like 4. I really don't like doing more than that, and I don't like doing more than like 20 to 25 reps like through all my sets. So I'll do 5 or 4 sets of 5 reps or something like that. And I don't want to do too many, because when you totally overexert your muscles, like you might get a marginal gain in that day, but it takes you so much longer to recover, and you're not able to hit them again in that week. So I like hitting my muscles twice a week. A lot of times I'll do full body 2 days a week, separated by like 2 days or something. It depends, but overtraining your muscles so much in one workout is like not actually that great. You get marginal gains as compared to if you were able to train them again in a few days and they were completely recovered, rather than you being super sore and not able to put up that much weight because you went way too hard the first time. Number 6 is not eating enough. This used to be my main problem. I got lots of gains and I got really strong and everything when I was younger, but I did not eat enough, and I got sick and I lost all of it. And I see all these other guys are super lean and the gains are slower, and they're so susceptible. They get one injury, they get one sickness, and they're out of the gym for a few weeks or a month or 2 months, and it's like everything disappears. Their numbers go way down, their muscles all gone, and they don't have any fat barrier to like to protect them a little bit. Now, I know that the dream physique is like being lean and everything, and that's cool, and that's good, but like, especially if you're in a building phase, like, don't be afraid to get your body fat up to like 15% or something like that. Maybe even 20, but 20 is pretty high. I would say 15%. I've got a higher body fat than you probably want, but that's just because of my goals and what I'm trying to do. But don't be afraid to eat, man. I don't see a lot of people changing their diets enough. Some people, like I used to say, I can't eat enough. No matter what I eat, I'm not gaining weight, but that's not the truth. I'm just a hard gainer, sure, but like, you really, really can gain weight no matter who you are, unless you have a genetic condition or something. You can gain weight if you eat more. I found that something that works really well for me is drinking a lot of milk. I'll drink like half a gallon to a gallon every single day, because that's 2,500 calories in a gallon. It's 150 grams of protein. That's like super nice, right? So I'll eat other meals, I'll eat other stuff, but that is like on top of what I normally would eat. I drink a gallon of milk, and that helps me tremendously. Like I said, I do it a little bit extreme. Like, I'm in a 4,000 to 5,000 calorie a day, which is not really what you probably need. You probably need like 2,500, maybe 3,000. I wouldn't go as excessive as me. I'm like 210 pounds right now. So if you're like 150, 160, or like lighter or something like that, you don't need that many to bulk up. And you don't want that many. You don't want to bulk too fast, because you can only gain so much muscle so fast. So make sure that you're eating enough. Number 7, make sure that you take your before pics. I know that everybody, especially me, like, I didn't do this either. And everybody gets big and then they're like, man, I wish I had pictures when I was smaller so that I could do before and after comparisons. It can be uncomfortable, you know. You don't like taking pictures of your physique or whatever because you're small or you're fat or you're whatever. But if you take your before picture, you'll be glad that you did, because then you'll have something to look back at and be like, wow, I've really made a lot of progress. And yeah, I really wish that I would have taken my before pictures. And I've talked to a lot of guys that say exactly the same thing. So make sure you're taking a before picture. Take a bunch of them. Take every different angle that you can think of. Try doing a couple poses. Maybe if you don't know how to pose, it's fine, because learning how to pose is part of it too. You'll get better at posing, and you'll be like, your before posing and your after posing, you'll be able to tell a difference. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to look weird or whatever. The whole point is that you're starting here and you'll be able to see your growth. Number 8, going alone. I see so many guys that are totally like beginners and they go to the gym alone. And the thing is, it's just really hard to stay consistent, stay motivated without a friend in there. And if you don't have any friends that already know how to lift weights, maybe somebody else is ready to get in shape as well. Like, say, hey, let's meet at this time every single day, keep consistent with it, and do this together. And it'll probably help you a lot. I found that usually when I lift with friends, it's always in increments of like a couple months at a time. So don't become completely dependent on your friends, but having somebody to go with makes going to the gym so much more fun. I love going and lifting with the boys, and you will too. Just try to get anybody in there. They don't need to be, as small as you. You don't have to be embarrassed, and like whatever. Just make the most of it, because it'll make going to the gym so much better. Number 9 is not asking for a spot, especially on heavy movements. I see a lot of guys that'll get underneath the bench press and they're like really pushing themselves to the edge and almost going till failure, and it makes like 5 or 6 people around the gym like need to watch them and like kind of out of the corner of their eye, because they're worried about his safety. And I've done this a lot of times where I'll look at people going and pushing themselves really, really hard, and it's like, that's good, but there's nobody with them and there's nobody watching them. And I know that there's like high potential for injury. Maybe I saw them like fiddling around, and like I was like, okay, this guy doesn't have super good like form or whatever, or this guy doesn't know exactly what he's doing, and so it like increases the anxiety of everybody in the gym if you don't have a spotter. And like literally everybody will spot you. Anybody that's like slightly larger than the average person in the gym will probably say yes, because they're used to being in the gym and it's not a big deal. So make sure you ask for a spotter if you're going really heavy. All right, number 10, not accepting constructive criticism. I've seen so many people just like completely reject constructive criticism, not only in the weight room, but in anything athletic, because people get kind of like an ego, right? They get like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. It's fine. I'm good. I'm good. But I like, even now, I'll ask people questions that I know probably don't know as much as me, but I know that I've studied it a lot. There's always something to learn from anybody that you talk to. It doesn't matter if they're a beginner too. So when somebody says something to you, just thank them for their advice. Thank them for talking to you, for being polite. And like, you don't have to be a jerk about it. Think about what they said. There's always something to be learned. Maybe do a couple Google searches. Maybe they said something that's contrary to what you believe. Be nice. And yeah, just be a good, genuine human being. Be open to learning. You're there to get better, right? So why not be open to learning? Maybe they're going to teach you something that you never knew before. All right, those are 10 mistakes that I see noobs making in the gym. If you like this video, consider watching some of my other ones. I appreciate you watching. Peace.